dias, bienvenidos. Welcome to the Goshen Historical Society Museum. My name is Danae Worth and I'm the growth coordinator here. And I would like to welcome you to come and visit us. Come and see the stories of Goshen and share some of your own stories so that we can share them with others. So this first display explains the history of the store itself. And we see some pictures of Adams and Sons, so Mr. Adams and the two sons who started the store, and then the sister Polly Adams who actually took over the store. And they sold a variety of different types of goods from the early part of the century. And she was a well-known fixture in the community. So if you look in the pictures in the display, you can see that not much has changed in the store. We have kept all the original floors and the original display cases, and we even made replicas of the old gas lights that they used to have hanging in the store. You can tell that in the first display there. Talks about the early Native American presence here in Elkhart County, which was very prevalent. It was the Prairie Potawatomi and then the Miami Indian. So those tribes were very prevalent in the area pre-1830. The Potawatomi left the area around 1820, but some of the Miami still remained. And this marks the trail from Fort Wayne that goes all the way up through the county to South Bend and then to Lake Michigan. And this is pretty significant because this was also a trail that the early settlers used to go out west.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And honestly, Goshen was established in 1831. So it's an older town, it's been around. But when you think about how far they came from 1831 to like the early 1900s and all the businesses and the manufacturing and the buildings here, you know, that were built, it was quite a feat. And Goshen was a very, very popular place for people to come. And a lot of times they would go through from, if they're going from New York, you know, trying to go out west, and then they end up staying here.
I see.
So a lot of the early settlers came from New York and Pennsylvania. So we do have we show you some maps of the whole county, the way that they were platted out early on when Goshen was just brand new as a city. And then we talk about the courthouse, which is iconic. It's an iconic building in Goshen. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful building. And it's one that's used on many photographs. So yeah, it's an important icon to us. There is something over by the courthouse that a lot of people ask about. And it's this building here. Yeah. Everybody sees it. This building is where the police had their radio control center.
Okay.
So they were placed right on the corner of two very busy roads. So having the radio control center there, they could get to places as they needed. It was not a booth to protect against gangsters or, you know.
The legend has it, right?
That's the legend. But it actually served a very good function for the city. It was built in the 1830s, after all the gangsters were pretty much gone. But yeah, and they used it for many, many years as a control tower. I love the part of our history that really talks about the railroads because, like I said, this is the heart of what made Goshen what it is, just because you could transport goods and services and people very easily.
Very important part.
And another part of, not so much the railroad, but the interurban trolley, you may see that little trolley car going around town, and that's kind of a remnant of the actual trolley that would travel through town. You could go all the way eventually from Fort Wayne to South Bend through that system.
Oh, wow.
So you would make little transfers in different, different areas and different cities, but the trolley tracks ran all the way through Goshen, all the way south and all the way north and up to Elkhart, up to South Bend. So it was a really important part of transportation and getting around.
Didn't know that.
But again, that's what made Goshen so accessible to people. They could work here and then live somewhere else, yeah. Another a big part of Goshen history was the Goshen Milling Company. That was the company that made a special kind of flour in the early part of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s. It employed a lot of people, and that they sent flour all over Europe. So they'd ship it on the railroad to New York, and then it would get shipped to Europe. So it's pretty incredible to think that our goods and services were going all over the world at the time, as far as they could ship. But the old bag factory, that is a really cool place in our history because again, there were a lot of people that worked there. So it was a big part of our industry. But one cool little thing people don't know about, so we have these candy, right? These little Hershey candies.
Yeah.
The bag factory made these plumes from the time this was invented. This was invented in 1921 in the early 1920s. And the bag factory started making the tags for them and made it until the bag factory closed.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
So that's why we have these here as well.
Wow.
It's just a fun part of history. Some of our exhibits we have for children to actually manipulate, and I love this piece. So if you have children who are interested in things from the past, they can touch this. They don't know what it is. It is so great. And like the record player, I love it when they say, "Is that a big CD?" They think it is a CD.
Oh my goodness.
But it's great because they're making the relationship to it.
Right?
One thing we really try to do here is to get children involved, to understand that some things about history, that there were things in the past that help us use the things that we have now. So like the early telephone to our cell phone, helping children make the connection that it took people in the past to get us to where we are today.
Yeah.
But they usually love this exhibit because they can touch it and they can, they can really get into it and experience it.
Very good.
We are open from 10 to 4, from Tuesday through Saturday, and we would love to have you visit. And don't forget to visit us on First Fridays as well. We look forward to seeing you here.